The next thing that we are going to study is primary research and secondary research. Let's talk about define the primary research and secondary research, then we'll identify the differences between both. Actually, these are two methods of collecting data from the market. There are two ways of collection of doing the market research. Primary research, first of all, the collection of first-hand data that is directly related to the needs of business. The collection of first-hand data that is related to the needs of business. This is also called field research. Because in this type of research, the researcher goes into the field, meet with the target market directly and collects the information that is first hand. Then we have secondary market research. In the secondary market research, we use the existing data that was originally collected by some other person. Existing data that was originally collected by some other person. That's why the data collected in the secondary market research is also called second-hand data. And we call it desk research too, because we can do it on the desk table of libraries, books, computer table, through internet. Now let's talk about the differences between primary and secondary research. Okay, primary research is the first-hand research, as I told you, by the organization for its own needs. They set their own objectives, conduct the research in the market. We're talking about the differences between the primary and secondary market research, and I said that primary research is the first-hand collection of data, because in this kind of research, the researcher sets his own objectives, goes into the market directly and collects the data. While in contrast, if we talk about the secondary research, is the use of the analysis of data that already exist. Secondary research data has already been collected by some other person because of for the purpose of his own objectives, but now is available in the different forms. Okay, but still, when businesses are entering into the market, what type of research they do? Sometimes business prefer secondary research when they are entering into market. Why they prefer secondary research? There are multiple reasons for that. First of all, it's almost sometimes available free of cost. So we call that cheap to collect such kind of data, that is called secondary. Because it's available in newspaper, you can read that article and use that data. It's also used to collect the main features of the market easily. We can we can assess the data about the competitors, about the products that they are introducing in the market and all that. Uh, if we talk about the usefulness of the secondary research data, there are many. First of all, it can provide the information about the population that otherwise won't have been possible for us to collect in primary source. It can provide information about the population. We can generate data about gender distribution in our economy, sometimes income distribution in our economy. We can also talk about the population trends that have been published in newspapers, magazines, internet. It can help to identify the key areas of market information that primary research to focus on. So it can be used before primary research to in the primary research to be more accurate and focused. It can help identify the key areas of market information, identify the key areas of market information that primary research should focus on. It can provide evidence that can work as the baseline of primary research. Evidence that can work as baseline of primary research. In the secondary data, we use large samples, large collection of data that increases the chances of accuracy. Many sources of secondary research are easily accessible through internet. For example, archives of libraries. Through internet. Okay. Much of the data is available easily and it's always accessible in secondary research. If we talk about the sources of secondary market data, there are many, as I told you earlier. We can have the secondary data from government reports, for example, population census. Government reports are usually available like GDP, GNP, per capita income, unemployment reports are easily available on internet. But sometimes the data is out of date. They are old data. And that old data might not be that useful. We can use local government records. The local government offices that have that record, we can go there and collect data. That is also available sometime free. And but again, that may be out of date. That may be old. We can use trade organization data. That is often produced in industry specific publications. For example, hotel industry can produce its own data, car industry can produce its own data. If we are member of that trade unions, that organizations, we can have easily access, otherwise not. Otherwise, it won't be possible. So the disadvantage, it might not be free. We can use the market research agencies data whose core objective is to do market research and they are doing it. Market research agencies data. And there are many agencies. For example, one name of agency is Mintel. We can use the data of that. They produce detailed market intelligence reports that are very reliable and useful. This is also very expensive because we have to purchase it. But as I told you, this data is very handful and useful. We can use internal company records like profit and loss account, balance sheets. That is low cost, immediately available. Company's data is usually available in stock exchange. We can go there and pick that. Low cost, immediately available. It has sales records of customers, many things, and that can be used. Feedback from the customer. Sometimes that is internal too, might not be given, but most of the cases it's given and it's easily useful. And we can use them for the purpose of our own interest. But if we talk about the limitations of secondary data, there are many. First of all, data may be out of date and might not be equally useful right now. The data has not been collected for the specific needs of business. Someone other has collected for its own purpose. Three, not all secondary data is available to the potential users. Companies might not give their sales record, the customer's feedback and all that. Not all data is available for potential users. And sometimes data is too vast, diversified, that you cannot extract something out of that. This is the detail of secondary data. We'll talk about the primary data now.